Syd and Liz Doyle from Ashford in Kent are an unlikely couple. Syd, a quiet, reflective Ulsterman, and Liz, his exuberant American wife. In 1981, they started an independent evangelical church, the Ashford Christian Fellowship, originally on the Stanhope Estate on the outskirts of the town, where their pastoral work brought them face to face with the realities of violence and poverty. The local Methodists offered them the challenge of being resident evangelists on the Stanhope Estate. Their first favourable impressions of Stanhope were soon overturned as their church became a target of mindless violence.
When we first moved there, I thought it was really posh. But after the third day we were there, we began to find out what was behind the doors. And when the first rock came through the window, and as a result, we got to start meeting some of the young people. When I found that so many people didn't know even what the cross was about, that concerned me. And it then made me feel personally that we needed to work here.
Was it a violent place?
It could be violent, yes. There were numerous incidents while we were there of violence. And a lot of it had to do with interpersonal relationships and also just young hooliganism.
What sort of violence did you have to face?
Things like we had some personal injury. Syd was beaten up a couple of times. Through the shock of one of those, I nearly lost our first child. I had to face violence, other people fighting and break-up fights and numerous missiles coming through the window. It seemed to be, but it just became a part of your life after a while. You didn't sort of think, oh, this place is violent. You just thought this place is home.
Unfortunately, there's just so much heartache and so much bitterness that's built up in people.
Is it, as you were living through these times, when you experienced difficulties and violence, did you, by way of compensation, see a growth in the church itself?
We stayed there for that initial year, and we stayed eventually for 5 years. But we did see progress. We were seeing progress. The authorities, the church authorities that we were working for, they were encouraged because, of course, this was going to close. And now there was life. There had been 2 services a month. Now there were at least 2 services a week. Sunday school classes, clubs for the young people. We had a summer mission on one summer, and the police were very happy about the level of violence had gone down. There were something like 200 children coming every day to this. We had tents up on the grass, and we used every available space. So there was a change taking place, and over the 5 years we did see progress. But we were seeing difficulties between what we were doing, which was really people-orientated. We saw the need to reach people, and we ran into a little bit of conflict with the church system, as it were, more than anything else, which was disappointing. We'd had quite a good relationship, but we weren't always singing the proper hymns. We had some difficulties just in reaching, we sang choruses, we were lively, we prayed for the sick. We would go out in the streets and sing in the open air, various things like this, and there was a conflict I could see coming with that until eventually we had to leave.
We prayed, and a local Anglican church very kindly offered us a curatage that they had vacant. They said, you can come and live here. You can live here until you get housing. We went to the council. We said, could we please have a council house? And they just said, no, 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 all the way along. That was very, very disturbing. Very humiliating, because we did have this little child. We had nowhere to live. We had no income. We had no church. So the people that we were going to be leaving, they said, well, we're not staying here. And we asked you, Syd, to be our pastor. And that was 16 people. And so Syd said, well, okay, I'll be your pastor. And we went, and we then moved into this curatage, and we began meeting in one of their front rooms.
We left Stanhope in 1980 and met in one of the members' homes after losing our home and church building. Approximately 20 people believed that together we should begin a free church. We needed a place to meet, and the Pentecostal church offered us at a low price their building. £2,000 anonymously was provided through our letterbox the Sunday before we had to pay for the building. God has raised up 3 other men, along with their wives, who minister alongside Liz and myself in the work here. We have Dave and Sue Nostiger from Ohio, Ron and Joyce Strip, 35 years pastoral experience, Barry and Gina Roberts. Barry came to know the Lord whilst he was working on the shop floor, a local factory, and a local man.
The congregation then acquired an old car sales room, which members have now turned into a place of worship and a meeting centre. It's a familiar site in the centre of Ashford, near to the parish church. The fellowship's style of worship is modern, lively and evangelical, and the congregation is now independent from the Methodists, pursuing its own ministry.
We came into this particular building with 80 people. It's gone from there to 300. And in the area which was the car wash, they used to wash the cars, where we have now our coffee bar area. And in that area on a Sunday, there's sometimes 75, 80 young people, children.
We've had over 50 different nationalities come through the church through the years. Even while we were a small church, we just found that people from all over the world would find us, and they would come and worship with us. We do a lot of ministry into African countries because there's a college nearby, an agricultural college called Y College, and many of the foreign students come here from there, and we're able to pastor them, and then when they go back to Africa, continue to support them and help them in their work there.
But we'd love to knock this down, build up about 3 floors, and have a private chapel upstairs and Sunday school rooms and offices, and, you know, that's a dream.